All right, welcome back. Another walk. Again, the waves are way too high. There's no way I can swim like that. So today I'm going to go to the gym. But I am going to walk a full hour. And I am walking, look, soft sand, which is really hard. I did this yesterday. I thought it was a great workout, actually. I can't walk on the beach because there's so much seaweed. And I don't know why they don't pick it up. I don't remember it being like this last year. And I'm sure they're waiting for a certain date, certain time to pick it up. So what's the point in picking it up once when you got to pick it up again? So, whatever. I'm just here to walk. So, today's lesson is about freehold states. There's 4 of them: severalty, tenancy in common, joint tenancy, and entireties. Tenancy by the entireties, spouses. So let's break them down one at a time, and then I'm going to do the non-freehold states, which is the leasehold. But I'll do that in a separate video. Actually, I'll do it on the way back. So let's go them one at a time. The first one you need to know is severalty, and severalty is just one owner. That's all it is. One owner, one person owns the property. No one else. So they have the full bundle of rights. They have ownership. They have all the deed, everything. They're not sharing ownership with anybody. And that is what severalty is all about. One person. From this point on, no matter what kind of ownership it is, must be 2 or more. So let's talk about tenancy in common. Tenancy in common, again, 2 or more people, is what tenancy in common is about. So when you buy a property, tenancy in common, you could own the property with equal shares, meaning if it's 2 of you, 50-50. You could also own the property with unequal shares, meaning if it's 2 people, let's say 60-40, 70-30. So tenancy in common allows you to do equal shares and unequal shares. Also, tenancy in common allows you to bring in another owner to the deed. So you could add a name. 2-3 months down the road, doesn't matter. You add a third name. If it's equal shares, 33-33-33, unequal, 60-20-20, doesn't matter. What you need to know here is tenancy in common is equal and unequal shares. You could add somebody else to the deed at a different time. It allows you to do that. Here's something else you need to know. One of the owners dies. His or her shares can be left on a will to whomever they want. They don't have a will. Well, then it's going to go to their heirs. Yeah. Here's a misconception. When you have a will, you're still going to go to probate court. It's just going to be quicker because there's a will. But you're still going to go to probate court. So that is called no right of survivorship. Not the probate court thing, but the fact that you could leave it in a will to someone, or it goes to your heirs. That is known as no right of survivorship, meaning that the other owners don't get a percentage of your shares. That's all it means. So that's tenancy in common. Then you have joint tenancy. Now, joint tenancy requires that the shares must be equal. So if it's 2, 50-50. If it's 3, 33, 33, 33. 4, 25, 25, 25. 25. You understand? Wow, I'm getting some very deep sand. I'll try walking over here. So, joint tenancy, the shares must be equal. Can you add someone else to the deed at a different time? No, you cannot. You cannot do it. Once you did the closing, it stays like that. Cannot add anybody else. Whereas a tenancy in common, you could. Now, what happens upon someone's death? Well, if someone dies, the shares get divided between the other owners. You can't put it on the will. It doesn't go on a will. It doesn't go to your heirs. It goes back to the other owners. Now, a lot of people think that it's also divided equally. Well, it could be, but it doesn't have to. So what am I trying to say? Well, let's say there's 3 owners, and the shares is 33, 33, and 33. One of the owners dies, and the owner is going to give that owner all his shares to someone else. Not going to split it. So now it's 66-33. No longer a joint tenancy, but a tenancy in common. It gets changed. So they could definitely do that. When does this get established? At time of closing, the attorney or the title company has to ask you who's going to own your shares upon death. And that's the way it gets done. Well, this person, because he's my brother, or, split it between the other owners. But you definitely cannot leave it to anybody else that's not an owner. You cannot do that. By the way, that's called right of survivorship. So no right of survivorship means you can leave it in a will. Right of survivorship means no. The other owners own your shares. So let's recap. Joint tenancy. Shares must be equal. Cannot bring in a partner at a different time. And upon death, the partners will own your shares. That's what joint tenancy is. What about a tenancy by the entireties? Well, us spouses, or husband and wife. Who owns the property? Well, we all know it's the wife. No. The ownership of the property is owned by the marriage. That's who owns the property. Upon the death of one of the spouses, then the shares goes directly to the other spouse, unless there's kids. And it has to be kids from a different marriage. Then let's say the husband dies. The wife gets a life estate, and the kids get a percentage, and they become remainder men because she's not their mom. If she's their mom, then she just gets 100%. So those are the 4, and that's it. Lesson on freehold states. Hope you learned something. By the way, day 6 walking. Day 6. All right. the way back, I'll do leasehold.